The Colorado Buffaloes need to make a statement on Saturday. I think they're going to do just that. Let's talk about why.
You are Locked On Buffs, your daily podcast on the Colorado Buffaloes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Buffs. I'm your host, Kevin Borba. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is around the corner. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now. We are also brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day for free and available wherever you get your podcast. So do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's dive in. The Colorado Buffaloes are taking on the Delaware Blue, or the Fighting Blue Hens. Apparently they're the Fighting Blue Hens. So just not any Blue Hens. On Saturday, sorry for the late episode, had a plumber over at the house all day, and it was an interesting experience. The Buffs have an opportunity to make a statement for themselves, right? No one's going to walk away from this Colorado game going, wow, I'm really impressed with Colorado, because Delaware is a newly minted FBS program, right? I had Zach from my good friend Zach McKinnell on, who's an FCS insider, and he sort of gave us a skinny on them earlier in the week, and it was just like, yeah, they're a good team, right? They're creative on offense. They got some good playmakers here and there, but their best defensive lineman is 6 foot 285, right? Their wide receivers aren't freak athletes, but they're good athletes, right? Their quarterback, he's not Haynes King, but he's a solid athlete, right? Everything about Delaware screams like tune-up game for Colorado. And I think some people around the Colorado fan base, around the program, have kind of, they're sounding the alarms after the first game against Georgia Tech. And I don't think there's a need to sound the alarms, right? I think this Colorado game goes as expected. Now, before I give you my prediction, let me give you the facts of what this game is working with. So let's go odds, weather, all that jazz. Colorado is favored by 24.5. So if you're a betting person, you're picking them to win by 25 or more, right? Colorado is huge favorites. ESPN's matchup predictor gives them a 93.5% chance of winning. Weather-wise, we're looking good, right? 12:30 p.m. Game time, 75, partly cloudy, so maybe no rain, which would be nice. I think anytime there's rain, it sort of changes things, but still, I think we're going in, or it'll be, I guess, 1:30 local time, 12:30 my time. But I think Colorado wins big, right? I think Colorado blows the Delaware Blue Hens out. I think they win probably by a score of, I'm going to go 38, because I do think we're going to get a long kick in there from Buck Buchanan, because he's been just booming kicks. I think we're going to attempt a long one with him. I think the final score is something along the lines of like 38-17, right? Is that enough for Colorado to cover? Let me do my quick math here, because I think it is. I have them covering, or I don't have them covering, I guess. 38-17, possibly even more. I don't know if they'll get 17 points on them, because I think that the Robert Livingston's defense is going to come back hungry and being like, we need to blow things up. And here's why I think they're going to win, right? I mentioned the interior defense lineman for Delaware State. That's viewed as their best player, right? Good dude. I mean, he'll probably make some plays, right? But Colorado realistically should run the ball all over this team. I expect Micah Welch to be shoved down their throats. I expect Simeon Price to be shoved down their throats. I don't know if Colorado plans to use DeKalin Taylor as just a every down running back, but I expect him to have some big plays in the run game, right? I think Colorado is going to pretty much try to find their physicality, and based on how Coach Prime was talking, because there's some interesting quotes that popped up earlier this week where I think this is a message to the players on the team, right? I think maybe everyone, and I feel like there's always this point too, but Coach Prime said this, quote, "Sometimes we think talent oversees trust. Some of you have tremendous talent, but we can't trust you," right? So there's guys who obviously they're really good, but they're just not living up to what the coaches are asking for. And then later in that practice, this was a couple days ago, he said, we're not going to reward anybody that don't practice hard and put them in the game. We're not doing that anymore. So this is a sort of wake-up call for everyone on the team, where it's like, hey, if you're not doing what we ask you to do, if you're not doing what we need from you, you won't play. So I think we're going to quickly learn who Coach Prime was talking about, right? I think we're going to quickly learn who that message applies to. And I think there's going to be, I don't know if position battles will be settled, but I do think that there's going to be some position battles partially won where it's like, okay, we are no longer riding with X person here, right? We're going to go with insert name here, right? I think Coach Prime is sending this message of like, hey, step it up or get out, because I think he knows like I need to figure out my rotations. I can't just be I'm not going to just be like, okay, we spent X amount of dollars to bring this guy here, so we have to play him. I don't think it's going to work like that anymore. And I think maybe week 1 that could have been something that they were dealing with. Oh, excuse me, sore throat today. Other prediction, defensively, I think we're going to see a more aggressive front, a more physical front, and some people thought they were aggressive enough against Georgia Tech. I expect more from that unit, right? I think Colorado's defensive front can realistically and should realistically, because if they don't, we're going to have other problems. They're going to push this this Georgia Tech team. They already had that chance. They're going to push this Delaware team around, right? Delaware does not have the size. They don't have the bodies to keep up with Colorado. I expect Colorado to just purposely make it a point to be physical, running the ball on offense, getting to the quarterback on defense, clogging the rush lanes, right? Make Delaware's quarterback, make him have to beat you with his arm. And guess what? I've seen him play. He's not going to make Colorado do anything with his arm. At least he shouldn't, right? Nick Minucci, I believe is how you say his name. Decent passer. Last year, threw for 10 touchdowns, 4 interceptions in Delaware's season opener against Delaware State. He wasn't bad, right? He 28 for 36, 251, and 3 tuds. Granted, Delaware State is a team that they're supposed to blow out, right? It wasn't that impressive, but he did run for 44 yards, a team high 44 yards, and a rushing touchdown, right? So make it where he has to beat you solely with his arm, because Colorado, you like your secondary, right? If you're Colorado, you trust your secondary a lot more than I would say you trust your other units on defense, right? You have DJ McKinney, you have Preston Hodge, you have, I think it's going to be Deion Parks is that other corner. He played majority of the snaps. So I think Colorado's going to be physical. I think they win by 3 touchdowns at a minimum. And I think the Buffs are going to sort of come out of this game like back on the right track. I forget, and this happens every year, I forget how quickly people jump the Colorado ship, right? Like last year, they beat North Dakota State, right? And then week 2, I think it was week 2, they play Nebraska, and they get blown out. It was 28-10. And everyone overreacts. It's like, oh my gosh, like this team is cooked, right? This team is, they got blown out. And I think that's the hard part with college football. Like college football and NFL in general, it's not the NBA. It's not like, oh my, okay, we play a game on Saturday, we're going to play again on Monday, so we have a chance to redeem every loss, and like no loss really matters until the end of the year. Like football is that one sport where it's like, you lose and it's like, okay, the sky is falling because we don't know what to expect anymore, right? And I think Colorado fans are in the sky is falling mode, and I think this game will get them out of the sky is falling mode, which I will appreciate, because I've seen some crazy overreactions. When we come back, speaking of overreactions, is Julian Lewis going to take the job from Caden Salter? We're going to talk about that, but first, a quick break. This episode of Locked on Buffs is brought to you by DoorDash. It's almost the weekend. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order, these players delivered when it mattered most. Let's break it down. For Colorado, I went with Kalen Taylor. He delivered in a big way. He obviously had the touchdown to start the game off against Georgia Tech last week. I expect him to be a really, really key part of the offense. And so when the pressure was on, he came through. There was no hesitation, no delay. And if you've been watching week after week, at least throughout the offseason and heading into the season, this performance wasn't a fluke. Kalen Taylor is somewhat on a streak, if you will, or at least he's going to prove to be on a streak eventually. Just like Kalen Taylor delivered for the Colorado Buffaloes, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays. With DoorDash Streaks, you save every Saturday for your order. Stack it all up all season, and you can save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through November 18th. This episode of Locked on Buffs is also brought to you by Mazda. Mazda crafts cars for those who choose to do more than simply move. They follow what moves them every time they drive, and that's what makes Mazda stand out. They go beyond safety, style, and performance to deliver a driving experience that feels alive in every detail. Mazda offers more safety, or more than safety. It's won more 2025 IHS Top Safety Pick awards than anyone else as of August 2025. You feel it the moment you get behind the wheel. The smooth handling, the intuitive controls, and standard all-wheel drive in every crossover SUV. It's the small details that make the big plays. And just like there's more to every player, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. Welcome back to Locked on Buffs. Appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day, making me your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, all that jazz so you don't miss out on a moment of our coverage. Let's talk about the quarterback situation, right? I could have read into it a lot. I don't really know what to make of what we're going to see from Julian Lewis and Caden Salter, but there's been two new developments that we need to talk about. For starters, Caden Salter was apparently sick. That's what he said. He was apparently sick during the first game. 102 fever is what he was saying. If that's the case, that makes sense why he wasn't himself, because he didn't play like – I wasn't expecting Caden Salter to play like that, right? I think he came out flat to me. He missed some throws. Him and his receivers were just off, right? And some of these missed throws were just – they weren't necessarily like, oh my gosh, he's so inaccurate. It was just like he's expecting Kalen Taylor to go up the field more and he doesn't, right? Or it just wasn't what we thought, right? And I thought there was jitters. I thought maybe he came out a little nervous, a little rusty, and turns out he was sick. Now, I don't know what's going around, but I know there's this bug. I don't know if it's the vid or whatever. There's this bug going around, and he tried to power through, and maybe he just wasn't. You know when you're sick and you have like that, even when you feel like you're fine, you're just like a step slow, right? Caden Salter looked a step slow to me. And I think it'll be different this week. I think he's going to find his confidence early. That being said, the guys over the pregame show in DNVR, Neely, they did a prediction for the game today, and I saw it, and someone sent it to me. And I mean, I'll be interested to see. I'll make sure to keep track as best as I can. But Neely predicted or said that he's expecting for Julian Lewis to play more than Caden Salter. Now, I do think Deion Sanders' comments about Julian Lewis and Caden Salter, that whole situation, it was interesting, right? I don't feel like typically you announce that your backup quarterback is going to play unless it's like we hope to get him in. Like this, I'll just put it this way. Before the Georgia Tech game, Deion Sanders announced that Caden Salter was a starter, and he was like, yeah, we hope to get Julian Lewis in, right? We hope there are situations where we could play him, but we know it's Caden's team kind of vibe. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, it's been one game. Julian Lewis is going to play, right? To me, that speaks volumes. That sort of shows like two things. They're expecting to beat the you-know-what out of Delaware, and they're just like, yeah, Julian's going to play because we're going to be up by so much. And I like that confidence, right? That's possibly overconfident, I guess. Or they're going to sort of exchange quarters or drives and see who is leading the offense better. Or maybe this is like some sort of motivational tactic for Caden Salter. But Neely is saying like, hey, I'm expecting Salter or Lewis to play more than Salter. I don't know if I necessarily buy that. We'll see at the end of the day. Like, I think Colorado does a really good job of keeping things close to the vest. That being said, I think there's going to be opportunities for both, right? If you're Caden Salter, how can you keep the job, right? This is how I'll address it. If you're Caden Salter, how can you keep the job? One, you have to move the football efficiently, right? Touchdown in the first drive of the game last week, fizzled until pretty much the second quarter. And didn't use his legs at all, right? He just was sort of everything that Colorado was expecting from him or hoping to get from him, they didn't. And it was like, okay, that's disappointing because it's like they brought you in to be this dual threat guy, veteran leader, and like he is a good leader. You could tell the guys gravitate towards him, but we didn't see what everyone was hoping to see from him on the field, right? And that's what makes it difficult. You were expecting one thing, you got another. For Julian Lewis, for him to take the job from Caden Salter, you pretty much just have to absolutely deal, right? You have to move the ball down the field. You have to protect the football. make plays with your legs, not take dumb sacks. You just have to you have to do everything that Caden Salter is doing, but better, right? In a way, like Caden Salter has the leg up, right? They obviously gave him the job for a reason, because they feel he is more ready right now. So if you're Julian Lewis and you're trying to win this job right now against Delaware, which I don't think 2 games is enough to really be like, take the job from this guy, give it to that guy, but we'll just see what happens. Coach Prime does have a quick trigger at times, or not a quick trigger, I guess, but he has a willing trigger. We'll put it that way, right? At Jackson State, his first year when he didn't have Shador, he played a bunch of quarterbacks. He also went through a bunch of offensive coordinators, right? If anything, Pat Shurmur, I feel like the pressure is more on him than Caden Salter. If I had to rank who's under the most pressure, it'd be Pat Shurmur, Caden Salter, maybe Robert Livingston, I guess, just to sort of figure out adjustments. I feel like Robert Livingston's in good graces, though, just because he's so great at what he does, and I think he'll be a head coach eventually. But, yeah, I think there's some interesting speculation about Colorado's quarterback situation. We'll just have to wait and see. I think Caden Salter should play a chunk of the game, build a huge lead for Colorado, and then give Julian Lewis like a full quarter, right? If Colorado's up 20-ish or 28, like say Colorado goes into the fourth quarter up 21, I think you let Julian Lewis play. I do. I think you give him the opportunity to get some long reps, some big reps. I don't know if he should play more than Caden Salter. I feel like that's kind of an overreaction, that Caden Salter should lose the job after one game, especially if he had 102-degree fever. But it's college football, right? And things happen, and sometimes there's things that happen behind the scenes that we don't always get to see. Like, I'm not saying this is the truth, or I'm not saying this is gospel or whatever, but maybe one of those messages of like, hey, you're not doing what you need to do. Maybe one of those messages was Caden Salter. Who knows? So we'll just have to wait and see. When we come back, these are going to be 3 players who I really want to see more of on Saturday, aka tomorrow. This episode of Locked on Buffs is brought to you by our sponsors over at Upside. Hey, Locked on Buffs fans, are you still paying full price for gas? If you are, I'm going to roll my eyes at you. Stop leaving money behind. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. Use my limited time promo code FOOTBALL and get an extra 25 cents back per gallon your first fill up. You can make up to $300 a year just from buying the gas you already needed. At first, thought it was too good to be true, but it's totally legit. Real people are getting paid just to make their daily commutes, and you can too. Plus, you can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, e-gift card, or Amazon and other brands. Excuse me. So, don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now. Using my limited time promo code FOOTBALL for a limited time 25% per gallon bonus. That's promo code FOOTBALL. Offers may vary by user and location. This episode of Locked on Buffs is also brought to you by our sponsors over at FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready to kick off with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. FanDuel, it's quick and easy. It's the best way to add a little more energy to the Sundays, and that's why I love it. So, are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app right now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Welcome back to Locked on Buffs. Appreciate you guys for tuning in, making me your first listen of the day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast. So make sure to like, subscribe, follow, all that jazz, because, I mean, come on now. Colorado football is here, and you guys need to be paying attention. You need to be locked in to know what's happening. Let's just talk about it. There's guys who are going to play more, who are going to have bigger roles after week 1. These are the 3 that I think absolutely need to. Now, I'll go for the one on the nose, which I called for him to play a lot early in the season. It just didn't work out. DeKalen Taylor, right? I said we need 12 Trackhawk touches per game. We got 12 Trackhawk snaps in the first game, and that is unacceptable, right? I need to see Trackhawk. I need to see him on screens. I mean, hand him the ball. I don't care. Put him in the slot. I do not care. Get him the ball in open space and let him cook. Right? I think they made it obvious that they know he needs to play more. I think he takes the offense to another level. And I mean, when you lose the playmakers you had last year, Travis, LeJounte, Jimmy, whoever else, Will Shepherd wasn't as like explosive or elusive, but you had playmakers, right? You don't necessarily have those playmakers yet, right? No one has stepped up this year. I want to see Trackhawk get the ball a lot. I want him. I want to be like, oh my gosh, why are they giving the ball so much? Like I want that to be the problem, right? Feed him until the wheels fall off. Next guy, Sean Myers, linebacker, transferred in from North Alabama. He only had a tackle last week, but was Colorado's highest graded player. The linebackers, I don't think, I mean, they were my biggest concern heading into the week or heading into the season. There was moments from Martavius French that I loved. There was moments from Reggie Hughes where it's like I like their energy, I like their passion. Their pads are popping when they make certain plays, but they weren't physical enough. They even admitted like, hey, we were still getting used to playing with each other, still getting used to playing with this line, and they had all these reasons. And it's like, okay, we'll see if it works out. But I do think Sean Myers, and even the coaches said that they expect him to play more. So I think Sean Myers is a guy that I'm really hoping makes an impact, right? Because it's like, it sounds like he put himself on everyone's radar, and now he's going to get the opportunity. And I hope he takes advantage of that opportunity. Last guy, and this is, I feel like it's a risk saying him because part of me believes that the coaches were talking to him. Jaheim Otis, right? Massive guy. He had 2 tackles in week 1, 6'5", 330 pretty much. Had a pass deflection. And great video, honestly. He's one-on-one with the Georgia Tech offensive lineman, shoves the offensive lineman into the lap of Haynes King, jumps up, bats down the pass. Saw him make a diving interception at practice this week. Man, if he just puts it all together, I think Jaheim Otis could be one of the most disruptive players, not only in the Big 12 and in college football. Right? Colorado needs him to be that. And this Delaware team, they don't have anyone that can block him. Right? If he's on the field, I expect Jaheim Otis to be disruptive. Him and Anquin Barnes, really. I expect both of them to be disruptive. They have size, they have strength, they have the ability to make big plays, right? Will they make the big plays? We'll just have to wait and see. But appreciate y'all for tuning in to Locked On Buffs, making me your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Also, become an insider. I'm going to put the link below in the description. Me and Jordan Dominic, we're going to do some film studies. You guys can you have the ability to sign up. You'll have the option to text me and Jordan as well. We'll have a number on there. You can text us questions. We're going to do a film breakdown from Jordan's perspective as a defensive lineman, someone who played for Coach Prime, right? It's going to be awesome. We're going to start this week, and you guys are going to love it. I promise you that. So I'll drop the description down below. Make sure to sign up, become a Locked On Buffs insider. It's going to be awesome. You guys won't regret it. And make sure to share this with a friend so that way we can continue to grow our community. I'll see all of you guys tomorrow after the game. I'm going to go live and talk about it as I do every week. Appreciate you guys, all the support that you give, and I will see you tomorrow. This has been Locked On Buffs.